I'm Judith Maria and welcome to SC Global News. From the overnight assault on Palestinian Christian villages in the West Bank by Israeli settlers to the release of a Colombian priest who had been missing since June, we have many stories to cover. Israeli settlers launched an overnight attack on the Palestinian Christian village of Taybeh in the West Bank, setting vehicles on fire and scrawling threatening graffiti, according to a witness and Palestinian Authority on Monday. Video footage from the scene showed multiple cars engulfed in flames and Hebrew graffiti spray painted on walls of a home near a village near Ramallah. The patriarchs and heads of churches in Jerusalem strongly condemned the recent attacks on the Christian village of Taybeh in the West Bank by Israeli settlers. We are gravely troubled by the prevailing climate of impunity which undermines the rule of law and jeopardizes peaceful coexistence in the land of the resurrection, they said in a July 29 statement. On July 27th and 29th, settlers forcibly entered Taybeh, setting several vehicles on fire and spraying hateful graffiti on houses. Armed, masked individuals roamed the streets spreading terror. The patriarchs stated that the Israeli police downplayed the incident solely to property damage, omitting the broader context of systematic intimidation and abuse by the Jewish population towards Christian towns. The heads of the churches also expressed concern over the reactionary disinformation campaign that was launched by Israeli settler-affiliated groups in response to the recent diplomatic visits to Taybeh. In their statement, the patriarchs urged the Israeli government to act with moral clarity by holding accountable those responsible for the crimes without delay and to ensure effective and consistent protection for the people of Taybeh. Pope Leo XIV's prayer intention for August calls for global unity and peaceful coexistence amid rising political, ethnic and ideological divides. Released on July 29th by Vatican News and Pope's Worldwide Prayer Network, the message encourages compassion and mutual respect over confrontation. The video aligns with the Church's broader push toward fraternity during the Jubilee year.
Pope Leo XIV issued his monthly prayer intention on July 29th from Vatican City, urging believers to promote dialogue over division in societies facing ethnic, political, religious or ideological tensions. The message was released through a video by Vatican News and the Pope's Worldwide Prayer Network. In his August invocation, the Pontiff invited the faithful to reflect on the importance of peaceful coexistence, compassion, and mutual respect. He emphasized the need to resist confrontation and instead embrace understanding and fraternity. According to Vatican News, the intention aligns with the broader call for reconciliation and unity of the Jubilee year. The video, produced in collaboration with Jesuit Communications, features young people offering messages of hope and highlighting the value of shared humanity. Pope Leo XIV expressed concern over the growing climate of fear and division worldwide. He encouraged people to build bridges rather than walls and to recognize diversity not as a threat but as a source of enrichment. The message underlines the importance of listening, empathy, and the courage to live respectfully with differences. It continues the Church's commitment to promoting peace and human dignity in a deeply divided world.
A pro-life Catholic student is taking legal action against a Massachusetts college, claiming that she was dismissed from her graduate program after objecting to a medical procedure on religious grounds. The case has sparked debate over conscience rights in healthcare education and has drawn national attention.
A Catholic pro-life student has sued Springfield College in Massachusetts for expelling her from its master's program after she objected to being assigned, without prior warning, to observe a second trimester abortion. Alina Thopurathu, an Indian-American Catholic, was enrolled in the physician assistant program at the college. During her OBGYN clinical rotation, she was assigned to observe a second trimester abortion procedure known as dilation and evacuation. A practicing Catholic and advocate for life, Ms. Topuratha was deeply distressed by the experience. In her evaluation of the clinical site, submitted in November 2022, she wrote under the weakness section, quote, "I wish I was asked prior to this case if I was comfortable with seeing a D&E. I was very overwhelmed by this experience. However, I was too afraid to speak up because I did not want to cause a scene." She also noted that students should be given the option to decline observing such procedures, especially when patient information is not provided beforehand. Despite her discomfort, supervising physician Dr. Christian Dardano acknowledged her concerns and gave her an 84.5% score for the rotation. Dr. Dardano also recommended that Topuratha be permitted to return to the rotation at a later time. However, according to the lawsuit, the college changed her grade to incomplete and later dismissed her from the program, even though she had a cumulative GPA of 3.4 2 months after she was supposed to graduate. The complaint alleges that this decision was part of a broader effort to achieve a predetermined result. Ms. Topuratha is now suing Springfield College President Mary Beth Cooper, PA Program Complaint Director Megan Midgen, and Program Co-Directors Melinda Connors and Sarah McGowan. The lawsuit filed in Hampden Superior Court on July 11th includes claims of breach of contract, unjust enrichment, and civil rights violations based on religious beliefs. She is seeking $500,000 in damages. Pro-life organization Students for Life of America has voiced its support for Ms. Topuratha. The group posted on X, quote, "No one should be forced to betray their conscience or violate their religious freedom."
Russia launched a heavy missile and drone attack on Kiev in the early hours of July 31st, killing at least 6 people, including a 6-year-old boy and his mother, and injuring dozens more. The strikes caused widespread damage across the city's districts. Ukrainian officials condemned the assault, warning it marks a grim escalation in war that continues to cause countless civilian lives. Russia launched a deadly missile and drone attack on Kiev in the early hours of July 31st, killing at least 6 people, including a 6-year-old boy and his mother, and injuring over 80 others, according to Reuters. The assault, part of the ongoing war, struck residential buildings, schools, and medical facilities across 4 districts of the Ukrainian capital. Officials confirmed damage across 27 sites in the city. Military Administrator Timur Tachenko stated that several structures had sustained heavy damage and cautioned that the death toll could rise and rescue operations continued. The Ukrainian Air Force reported that dozens of missiles and drones were intercepted mid-air, though some managed to breach the air defenses. President Volodymyr Zelensky posted video footage of the destruction showing burning debris and civilians trapped beneath collapsed homes. He reportedly said the strike was a grim reminder that peace in Ukraine requires both resilience and continued international support. Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha described the morning as horrible, condemning the repeated targeting of civilian infrastructure. Reuters noted this as one of the deadliest attacks on the Ukrainian capital in recent months. Meanwhile, Russia continues to escalate airstrikes on cities far from the front lines while denying that civilians are in danger. According to Reuters, Ukrainian Prime Minister Yulia Sviridenko described the assault as a direct response to US President Donald Trump's recent warning of sanctions and urged maximum international pressure. The Australian government has clashed with social media giants after the Communications Ministry announced that the streaming platform YouTube will fall under purview for the newly passed Child Safety Act. This announcement reverses an earlier commitment to exclude YouTube from the scope of this bill.
In a bid to instill child safety on social media sites, the Australian government picked a fight with various social media conglomerates by ordering liaison officers to restrict children under the age of 16 from opening accounts on the respective sites. The Labour government announced on Wednesday that the site, which is owned by Google's parent company Alphabet, will be subject to the same rules as other leading platforms Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok and X under legislation due to come into effect in December. The recent decision made on Monday by the government backs away from the earlier promise made at the start of the year to exclude the popular video site YouTube. Explaining the rationale behind the decision, Australian Communications Minister Annika Wells said The decision was necessary to protect young children from the pitfalls of social media and compared it to swimming skills, an essential competency for children living in many suburban homes with a swimming pool. She also cited a survey conducted by the Australian government which showed that around 37% children had searched for harmful content, including dangerous online challenges, fight videos, or content that encourages unhealthy eating or exercise habits. The legislation concerning the regulation of children on social media was passed in January. As part of its research, the government commissioned age assurance verification trials to test the capabilities of different technologies in order to inform the rules it will impose on social media companies.
Bishop Robert Barron has been awarded a prestigious international honor for the contributions to Christian thought and evangelization, but the decision has stirred controversy within parts of German Catholic Church. Stay with us for the full story behind the award and the backlash it has sparked.
Bishop Robert Barron of the Diocese of Winona Rochester and founder of Word on Fire Ministries has been awarded the 2025 Joseph Pieper Prize. The award, instituted in 2004 by the Joseph Pieper Foundation in Münster, Germany, is presented every 5 years in recognition of outstanding contributions to Christian anthropology. The award was conferred on July 27th during a symposium at the Borromeum Seminary in Münster. The foundation stated that in awarding the Joseph Pieper Prize to Bishop Barron, it was honoring a theologian and academic who effectively uses modern media to advance Christian preaching. However, the decision has sparked criticism from some quarters of the Catholic Church in Germany. The Catholic faculty at the University of Münster released a statement criticizing Bishop Barron, claiming that he represents a form of Catholicism that excludes marginalized groups such as LGBTQ Catholics and migrants. In response, Bishop Dr. Stefan Oster of the Diocese of Passau defended Bishop Barron, stating that accusations of him being right-wing reflect more on the accuser than on Barron himself. Calling him one of the most influential Catholic evangelists in the world, Bishop Oster praised Barron as a man of prayer, emphasizing that this spiritual quality was a decisive factor in granting him the award. The Joseph Pieper Prize is named after Professor Joseph Pieper, a renowned German Catholic philosopher celebrated for his work in moral philosophy and for reviving classical and Christian thought in contemporary discussions on ethics, virtue, and the human person. Pieper played a key role in making Thomistic philosophy more accessible in the 20th century. Bishop Robert Barron, a philosopher and theologian in his own right, frequently draws on Pieper's works in his sermons and lectures. In 2000, he founded the Word on Fire Institute, which for over 2 decades has drawn many to the Catholic faith through beauty, truth, and goodness.
Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney announced that Canada would be joining the growing list of countries that recognize Gazan statehood. This statement comes at a time when both countries are in the midst of important trade talks.
Following the UK and France, Canada has also joined the growing list of countries supporting Gaza's recognition, as Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney announced on Wednesday that the country's representatives will raise the issue at the upcoming United Nations General Assembly. During a session with media officials, Carney stated that the recent announcement aligns with Canada's commitment to promoting peace and stability in the Middle East. This move follows similar announcements by Western countries such as the UK and France, indicating a shift in their Middle East policies, as both countries issued an ultimatum to recognize Gaza's sovereignty unless Israel ceases blocking humanitarian aid to the region. Carney's announcements comes at a time when the United States and Canada are engaged in vital trade negotiations. US President Donald Trump hinted at withdrawing from the talks, criticizing Canada for backing Palestinian statehood. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu also lambasted the UK and France call to recognize Gaza, stating that the move would reward Hamas terrorism. International Desk, Shekinah News.
Following a deadly mass shooting in New York City that left 4 people dead, including a New York City police officer, Cardinal Timothy M. Dolan of New York emphasized that we should never get used to violence or lose our respect for the sacredness of human life. The shooting occurred on July 28, just 2 blocks from St. Patrick's Cathedral inside the Midtown Manhattan skyscraper. After the tragic mass shooting that claimed the lives of 4 people, including a New York City police officer, Cardinal Timothy M. Dolan emphasized that we must never become used to violence or lose our reverence for the sanctity of human life. The violence unfolded on July 28th, just 2 blocks from St. Patrick's Cathedral inside a Midtown Manhattan skyscraper that houses the offices of the NFL as well as prominent financial and real estate firms. The gunman, identified as 27-year-old Shane Tamura, took his own life after the attack. Tamura had apparently driven cross-country from his home in Las Vegas. Surveillance footage captured him walking toward the building with an M4 rifle before opening fire. According to New York Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch, a revolver was also found in his vehicle. Among those killed was 36-year-old NYPD officer Didarul Islam. Officer Islam, who had served on the force for 3.5 years, is survived by his pregnant wife and 2 young sons. In his memory, New York Mayor Eric Adams ordered the flags on all city buildings and stationary flagpoles to be flown at half-staff until further notice. In a statement to OSP News, Cardinal Dolan expressed deep sorrow, saying that they were heartbroken by the loss of life. Their prayers are with the victims, the injured, and their families. He also shared that his deepest love and concern are especially with the families of those who lost lives and with the cherished NYPD community. On July 29th, Mayor Adams stated that the authorities have a reason to believe that Tamura was focused on the NFL, referencing a 3-page note written by the gunman. In the note, Tamura claimed he suffered from chronic traumatic encephalopathy, a degenerative brain disease linked to repeated head trauma. CTE, which can also be diagnosed posthumously, has been found in athletes who endure repeated head injuries such as football, boxing, and hockey players. Tamura, who had played high school football, accused the NFL of concealing the risk associated with CTE. In his letter, he wrote, "Study my brain, please," adding that he is sorry. An Augustinian priest in Colombia who went missing in June has been released. His religious order confirmed in a statement issued on July 27th. Father Carlos Sol James Guerrero of the Order of St. Augustine's Province of Our Lady of Grace of Colombia had disappeared on June 17th. The reasons behind the kidnapping or the subsequent release remain unknown, and no group has claimed responsibility.
Colombian priest Father Carlos Saul Jaimes Guerrero, who has been missing since June 17, was found by law enforcement after 40 days on July 27. The Order of St. Augustine's Province of Our Lady of Grace of Colombia confirmed in a statement that Father Carlos was freed and reunited safely with his family. The province expressed its gratitude to God for sustaining the priest during his time of captivity and for the prayers and support they received. The 30-year-old cleric disappeared after conducting programs for the youth and senior citizens at Hacienda Casa Coima on the outskirts of Viota and on his way to a nearby place for a scheduled meeting. A few hours later, his vehicle was found abandoned on a path with the engine running. Ironically, no one claimed responsibility for the incident, nor was a ransom demanded. Father Carlos' family even offered a reward for anyone who provided information to help find the priest. Local residents also held a candlelight march and vigil on June 26th for his return. Days after Father Carlos' abduction, authorities discovered a mass grave on July the 1st with the bodies of 8 religious and community leaders, including evangelical and Protestant missionaries who had disappeared in April. According to Open Doors International, guerrilla groups aligned with drug trafficking gangs often violently targeted Christians, especially church leaders and priests who discourage youth from joining the guerrillas.
That's all for today. Until we meet again, God bless and thank you.